Welcome to Leadership Legacy Radio, where we inspire you to live your dreams, encourage you to take massive action, and be your authentic and genuine self. We focus on 3 pillars. That's empowering youth, equipping leaders, and enriching marriages so that you can go out and dominate your space.
If you're ready to dominate, you're listening to the right show. This is the Leadership Legacy Radio. Now let's go.
We are live. Checking in. Tonight we're going to talk to you guys about some amazing things. Let's see. Facebook, Mr. Zuckerberg letting us know that we're good to go. G to G. How y'all doing tonight?
Hey.
How are you doing tonight? Tonight we're going to talk about marriage. And how can you keep ice out of your house?
Ice.
One of my favorite songs growing up. Ice, ice, baby.
No, you
Dun
didn't.
dun 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 dun.
Vanilla
Ice,
ice.
ice, baby.
Really?
All right. So how can you keep ice out of your house? We always like to come up with a few analogies that way you can kind of understand and maybe better relate it to what we're talking about. So the first thing we want to talk about, and Sharita has been kind of like talking about this a little bit, is understanding the laws and the principles that apply to your relationship and to your marriage. So a lot of people think that they can just walk into a relationship and do just anything, and that's not necessarily how you want to go about doing that. Hey, Mom, hey, Eric. If you go into a relationship thinking that you can do just anything, you're going to run into a few problems, right? It's like me thinking that I can just not follow the manufacturer's warranty on an item. So I can't sit here and say, okay, I know better than Ford and do whatever I want to my Ford car and think that it's going to work appropriately. If you want to avoid the warranty on your Mac computer, put products that aren't compatible for a Mac on it. If you want to mess up your PC, do things that you shouldn't do to a PC, like sit next to the pool when it's not waterproof. You can void the warranty, and we often do that in our relationships by not understanding the principles. The other day you talked about, you can't just think that you can put orange juice in your car and let it run, right? But we often treat our relationships that way. Like, I can do whatever I feel like and it's going to be okay.
And it's going to work.
And it's going to work. Yeah. And people often say marriage is work. But do you agree with that?
It doesn't have to be difficult, work. It doesn't have to be work that you don't enjoy because, like you say, if you
love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
But you're still working technically, but it's not.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily work, right? Because it's something you're passionate about, something that you love. And so if you think about it, one of the things that people tend to do is compare. Let's throw it out there. People love to say, I love my wife. And it sounds good. It makes you feel good, but what else do you love?
I love bacon.
You love bacon. I love my car. I love ramen. All of these different things, right? But let me ask you this. If you take the principles, the true and tested principles, and you apply it to your car and then into your relationship. So I love my wife. I love my car. Your car can't run on love. As much as you try, as much as you kiss your car, as much as you caress your car, as much as you pretty up your car, it can't run on love. Right? And so, but we often think that I can say I love you and that's going to fuel, inspire, motivate, and keep your relationship going. But love doesn't do it, right? It's a principle. And so, so I go back to the car. So as much as you love your car, if it runs out of gas, it's not going to run. So there's certain things that you have to do to the car.
So basically, like, it's certain things that your car needs, like your car needs gas.
Yep.
So you have to go and put gas in your car. As much as you love, and I used the analogy last time of orange juice, as much as you love orange juice, I enjoy orange juice. I can't put that in my car because my car doesn't need that. My car only runs and operates off of gas. And even though I don't need gas, like I don't like to drink gas. No. I don't need gas for my body to function, but my car does. So I have to give my car what it needs. And you need to do the same thing in your relationship. You need to give your spouse what they need, not necessarily what you need.
Yes.
You feel like you want.
Absolutely.
You have to give your significant other what they need and what will fuel them in the relationship. So
absolutely,
that's super important. Hey, Mike.
What's going on, Mike? So let's talk about some of the things. So we're going to talk about a few things, and then we're going to give you the 3 foundational principles that you need to establish, enrich, and inspire your marriage to be the absolute best, right? Okay. And so one of the things that I've realized, and we share these things because these are things that we've learned. These are things that we've heard and applied, and we've seen how they've affected our relationship and improve our relationship. So one of the things that I know for a fact, and it's more important with women than it is for men, is what you say out of your mouth. So for a female, we are by law required not to say anything negative to women.
You said required by law.
Required by law. by the marriage cookbook principles. You're required by law to not say anything negative to a woman. Why is that? It's important because men and women interpret words differently. Women feel words. And I did not know this. Women feel words. To men, words are words.
That's it.
Nothing more, nothing complicated. Words are words. To women, though, they feel words.
They experience words.
So
when you say something, it's more of an experience. So if you tell me, you use that term, I love you, or something else. If you say, oh, you're beautiful, you look nice. And that's a whole entire experience.
That's an experience for them. Yeah. They go back to what they, heard as a child, like princess is beautiful and all of these things. So they tend to experience what you're saying and feel them more. Right. Where a male, if you say certain things, it's kind of like, oh, cool. And then we wonder why men don't respond the way that we want them to respond when we say certain things. Or women respond a certain way when you say certain things. Like, all I said was, well, no, but 3 hours ago you told me you love me and I was beautiful. Now you're saying, I don't want a relationship. I was just telling you that you were beautiful.
And this really kind of comes into play when you're dating someone.
Yes.
Because, for a woman that's dating someone that may tell her all these great things and say all these things, this woman is experiencing this. This woman is, living this experience. And then when the guy turns around and say, oh, well, this isn't working out, that woman may be thinking, well, how in the world is this not working out?
Yes.
Like, I've been experiencing, just
amazingness.
Yeah, fantasy. Like, I've been living in this wonderful fantasy right now from, everything that you've been telling me.
Absolutely.
And we live that. And men, it's different. Words, like you said, are words. They say them out of their mouth. And sometimes they don't necessarily mean them. Obviously, when you see people break up and after they've said things that, made a woman feel a certain kind of way. So
absolutely,
it's definitely important that, men, like you said, never say negative things, but also be careful with
what they say,
with the other things that you say, the positive and the loving things that you say, because you can be creating an experience for a woman. And then when you turn around and
that's
you don't necessarily feel that,
absolutely,
that experience that she's feeling, it's different. So it's important to be careful.
So, a powerful example of this is, we tend to not realize what we're doing in relationships. And let me give you a perfect example of this. Say I go to work, right? No, let me take it back. Say I go to work. So I go to work, and I have a secretary, right? I come in the morning and I say, "Good morning, Alexis." Let's just call her Alexis. Mm-hmm. And, how are you doing today? I'm doing great. And I say, "You look beautiful today." Mm-hmm. Okay, if I say that every day, but I don't say that to my wife,
that's a problem.
That's a problem. Mm-hmm. So that's one problem you've just created. Secondly, I am telling her she's beautiful every day, mm-hmm. but she doesn't hear that at home.
And that's the kicker. Yeah.
That's an even bigger problem, because now she loves coming to work because she hears and feels love. Mm-hmm. She goes home and she doesn't have that.
So she's getting a better experience at work than she is getting at home, and therefore, like, where would you rather be? You know what I mean?
I would rather be at work.
Yeah.
And so so there's two different problems you're causing here. Mm-hmm. One for her, mm-hmm. because now she's conflicted. She's like, I have a better experience when I'm at work. Mm-hmm. And then one at home, because now you're not doing what you're supposed to do at home. Right. The things that you say to your wife, you should never say to another woman. And so you got to be very careful, because good intentions can be dangerous for your relationship. They can be damaging and devastating for your relationship. That's like me, telling somebody they have a beautiful voice. All of a sudden, they think, oh, he wants me to talk to him more. Or, mm-hmm. Hey, like, not that I would ever say something like, this lady has silky smooth skin, but you say something like that, mm-hmm. that's literally flirting. Yeah. And you've just given her an experience. Yeah. My husband has never told me how silky smooth my, mm-hmm. whatever you say with the, with like silky smooth my skin is, but you're causing a lot of problems, mm-hmm. and not knowing what you're doing. This is powerful. People don't realize all the things that they do in their relationship and the damage that they cause because of the principles, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. right? Not knowing how to put these principles in place. Right. So one of the important things that I know for me is I can't create my own laws. I joked about like these laws and these principles that are founded in the marriage cookbook, but a lot of things that we've gotten from the marriage cookbook and we've put into the marriage cookbook has been from scripture. Mm-hmm. It's been from foundational principles. And, I think one of the important things to understand is we spell love very differently. Mm-hmm. How do men spell love?
R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
Yeah. So that's how men spell love, right? R-E-S-P-E-C-T. With respect. It looks differently, and it comes out, differently, mm-hmm. for a female. Yeah. For a woman, respect is spelled different. Mm-hmm. It's spelled A-F-F-E-C-T-I-O-N.
I thought you were gonna stop spelling on.
Yeah, I was gonna stop spelling because I'm not the best speller. But it's affection, right? So women spell love with affection, men spell love with respect. And here is the truly unique part. You have to define that for yourself. Sharita's definition of affection is different than any other woman. So you can't just put women in a box. Like me, they're allergic to them, right? You can't put them in a box and say, your affection is me buying you a dress. Again, that is not love, right? You have to understand the importance of getting these principles into your relationship, because what it will do is transform your marriage. And so, thinking about that, you want to make sure that you understand. So one of the scriptures that kind of like gives this, like put this all into context is Proverbs 24:3-4. And it says, by wisdom, right? So underline wisdom. If you're taking notes, underline wisdom. A house is built. And through understanding, underlying understanding, it is established. Through knowledge, underlying knowledge, its rooms are filled. So you got wisdom, you got understanding, and you got knowledge. And those are the 3 foundational principles to your relationship. All right, so now we'll go into those principles. So knowledge is very simple, right? So knowledge is not necessarily the foundation, but the first level. Knowledge is that first step. Knowledge is information. Mm-hmm. So relationships don't work without knowledge. Right. And we've learned that. Mm-hmm. As I've become better, as I've learned more about relationships, as I've learned more about women, you've learned more about men. It's more important, and it's making us better and show up better in our relationship. Mm-hmm. So information, which is knowledge, is key to your development and the betterment of your relationship. Mm-hmm. Another thing is understanding that the last thing that people go after is knowledge.
When it comes to relationships.
Mm-hmm. What people love to do is they like to go after the hugs, the kisses, the hand holding, right? All of these things that we think are love, right? But again, love is affection. So what is affection for you? What is affection for Sharita? What is respect for Cris? Mm-hmm. So if you go after the wrong information, what tends to happen is you get in trouble. Mm-hmm. We have to go for what we classify as limited information. Limited information is those tried and tested principles. Okay. But what we tend to do is we go to information from sources that aren't helpful. Mm-hmm. So what do I mean by information from sources that aren't helpful? For example, we will go read magazines. We will go watch a celebrity's relationship in Hollywood.
On reality
TV.
Right. Yeah. That is purposeful about, making drama and all that stuff look.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And seeking knowledge from the wrong places, again, leads to devastation. Because if you think about it, one of the things that we do is we think, I see that relationship, I want that. Mm-hmm. But do you want what they go through? Do you want what that brings, right? We talked about this before. Like, it's important for when it comes to relationships, right? We see all these people that are successful, but if they were to apply the same thing to their relationship would flourish. Not just their business.
Oh, yeah. A lot of successful people.
Yeah.
People that are successful in their businesses and other areas of their life don't put that same effort and energy and time and creativity in their relationship. And I like what you said about, just the basis of, having a successful relationship. It's important that you get knowledge. And we talked about this a few days ago, where you have, in our society today, we have to go out and we have to take a test in order to get a driver's license, right? Mm-hmm. We have to go and study for that test. We have to do a road test and all of those things. Like, we have to.
What was that?
I don't know. You just took a picture from something. But you have to take a test. You have to go and study, and you have to go and take a test in order to get a driver's license. Yeah. And our society puts more emphasis and caution in us driving on the road than they do in relationships, because all we have to do is go to a courthouse in order to obtain a marriage license.
Yep, absolutely.
And then,
to get married,
to get married. Yeah. And one of the examples that we also used was the fact that when you wreck your car, you don't say, "Oh, I'm done with this. I'm not getting another car." Who says that? Like, I'm never going to drive again. I'm done this. Yeah. I'm done with this. But we don't feel that way about getting another car or, going out and trying that again, because we're knowledgeable about it. We study, we took a test, we practice it. And when we get in a relationship and it's not successful and we're like, "Oh, I'm not trying this again. I'm not doing this ever again." Like, we give up and we feel like we're not confident in going and doing it again, because guess what? We don't have the knowledge. We don't have the tools that are necessary in order to make it successful. When we have knowledge about something, we're so confident about it. I know I can make this work.
Absolutely.
Oh, you know what? We had an argument yesterday. I know tomorrow we're going to be better because guess what? I know what to do in order to work on our relationship, in order to work on our communication and different things like that.
Hey,
so
Kevin.
it's important that in your relationship that you get knowledge, get the tools and stuff that you need in order to work when difficulties and challenges, happen. That makes us confident in our relationship because guess what? The only guarantee in your relationship is that guess what? Everything is not going to be perfect. Every day is not going to be perfect. Your spouse is not going to be perfect. Like as great as you think you are not going to be perfect. You're going to have, a bad day. You're going to have disagreements.
Absolutely.
Like you're not going to agree on absolutely everything. And I mean, even down to where you want to go eat at a restaurant for dinner.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like you're not going to agree 100% of the time. So it's so important that you get the knowledge that you need about relationships before you get into one. And if you're already in one, both get the knowledge, get the understanding and what you need in order to have a successful relationship.
Absolutely.
And some of those key areas like communication and, tension and disagreement, all those different things. It's so important.
And you bring up some really good points. I mean, like, wow, that's
welcome.
Pretty awesome. Yeah.
You're welcome.
No, I appreciate it. But, think about it like this. Most people believe that if it doesn't work, it's okay for me to give up, right?
Quit. Don't try it again. And one of the things that I had been doing a lot of research, and I've shared this before, and it's like ridiculous, the number of divorces, like the statistics. So the most recent Gallup study showed that 64% of marriages end in divorce. 64. Marriages in the military are at a ridiculous high. It's like 78% divorce rate. And you know what's crazy? Divorces in the church are at 77%. That is crazy.
Now, what was even more like insane for me to like hear is that 99% of marriages that end in the divorce, during the divorce process, in the middle of the divorce process, at the beginning of divorce, at the end of divorce, are 99% still in love.
Aww.
99% of people that are going through a divorce, in the middle of a divorce, or at the end of divorce, are still in love.
So what happened is that they're having a issue, they're having a problem that they don't know how to work through.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's just
absolutely.
Like,
they haven't gotten enough knowledge.
They haven't gotten enough knowledge to know how to work through. People are, too prideful to, go and get help, at times, because guess what? We use the analogy of a car, and if your car broke down, aren't you going to go to an expert and try to, get knowledge about, getting it fixed? Like we're having a problem in this area in our relationship. And so we need some help. Like we're having a hard time talking about it and getting it through it, getting through it ourselves. Cause sometimes that happens, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times, and I know Chris and I have experienced this before where, it's just, okay, this is the issue. It's something just basic.
Yes.
But guess what? Like we got all these feelings and examples and everything that we express. And then guess what? The root of the problem is something very basic that we could have worked through.
Foundational.
And it's something super foundational. And it makes my heart so sad because that's what happens in a lot of those relationships. They don't have the knowledge. They don't get the help that they need to get that fixed. Like my car is having engine problems, or my car is having problems with what? Name something with a car.
I mean, radiator.
Anything. You know what I mean? Like I'm not just going to throw my car in the trash because that part of my car is having problems. So I'm going to go to an expert. I'm going to try to get knowledge on how to fix it. Hey, Chris, can you YouTube this or, look at this to try to fix this? Like we have to get knowledge. And it's so, so important, like you said, about having that foundation of knowledge in your relationship for that exact reason. Because when problems arise, you got to know how to fix it. Like if a problem come up in our relationship, we got to be like, hey, you know what? We're having problems with communication in our relationship. Let's do some research. Let's go to other couples. Let's go, get some counseling, and let's talk about communication. Let's get some knowledge about communication. Let's get some knowledge about about love, or how to spend quality time, or how to raise kids, or how to deal with our finances, whatever the case is, whatever area you're having a problem with in your relationship. It's important that you go out and you go and get help in the area, just like you would your car.
Yeah. And what's funny is that I think about this. A good illustration of this was like the other day, the day that Genesis took me through all of Minot. Right. So the first thing that we did was, she wanted to go on a bike ride because she had just she had just started learning how to ride a bike, and she was just ready to go. And so every few minutes we would jump on a bike and she would try to pedal, and her bike was flat. Mm-hmm. So, her first response was get a new tire. Yeah. Like a new entire tire. Oh. Because she didn't know, she didn't have the knowledge. Yeah. So I said, no, sweetheart, let's, undo this. We're going to open it up and we're going to see if there's a hole in the tube. Mm-hmm. So I was showing her, if there's a hole in the tube, you can patch it. Yeah. So I went through some steps. I tried to show her how to patch it. So it was a good teaching moment for her to know, not just throw stuff away or give up. Yeah. And then we patched it.
A whole new bike.
Yeah, you didn't need a whole new bike. So we went a little bit, and then it got flat again. Mm. And then she was like, "Why can't we just get a new tire?" And I was like, "That's not the way it works." Yeah. So we went back after a few series. Long story short, I fixed it about 3 times, and it was because of the location of the hole that it didn't really seal. Mm. So then I had to go buy a tube. So then she, in her infinite wisdom, was like, well, I hope this fixes it. She's like, I hope this fixes it. And I'm laughing. I'm like, seriously? Wisdom. So we put in a new tube and we go on a bike ride, and we didn't have to buy a new bike.
Or a
whole new tire. Yeah. But that's what we do in relationships.
We want to just get rid of it and then try to get a whole new tire. Yeah.
I tried this one time. Yeah. That one time. And so, thinking about that. So now understanding, right? Understanding is the comprehension of that information. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to assimilate what that information means to you, right? Understand that, okay, I got this knowledge. I know that I can't just give up on my relationship. Right. There's certain things that I have to learn, right? So the topic today was keeping ice out of your house. So I know that it's important that there's certain things that I should do in my relationship to make sure that it flourishes. One example that comes to mind is most couples do this, and they don't even know how it affects their relationship. I know we've done it. How many of you, and raise your hand, emoji hands, how many of you sleep with your back to your spouse? That is not good for your relationship. It's almost like you're turning your back on each other. Intimacy doesn't come from back to back. It comes when you're facing each other. Mm-hmm. Even if you're going to sleep, whether it's, me putting my arm around you, you putting your arm around me, us facing each other, you always want to be both facing in the same direction. That shows unity. Both facing each other. That means understanding, right? Mm-hmm. But never facing back to back. Yeah, that's true. And back in the days, marriages used to last a long time. And, one of the things that I think about is, again, going back to the understanding, right? So you can't buy your wife a dress and think, I love you and this is how I show it. How is that showing love? It's just like you buying flowers for me. I don't think any man gets flowers.
Some do.
Some do?
Some might, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't.
I just don't want. You know what I mean? I don't like.
You don't want to put them in a box.
I want to put people in a box.
Yeah. Okay. So some men may like flowers. Yeah. I
plants
I agree.
Or something like that.
Yeah, plant, maybe a tulip or something. Or. But think about it, right? When you do that and you understand that, the key thing is understanding what that affection, right? So that's transformation from that understanding, right? So you have the knowledge and you understand that these things speak to Sharita.
Mm-hmm.
These things are what, let her know that she feels love.
Mm-hmm.
For example, spending time with the kids, doing certain things to help out around the home, not like
acts of service.
Yeah, acts of service
Mm-hmm.
and different things like that.
Quality time.
Speak to you.
Yep.
And make you feel loved.
Right.
Make you feel affection. Make you feel more of love towards me.
Mm-hmm.
And for a male, it may look differently, right? It may be, respect in the sense like, okay, for example, we joke about this. Like when I come home, honey, I'm home, or honey, you're home. Like it's a quick pause just to acknowledge that the spouse is home means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It can change their day.
And that, and like you said, I like how you describe that. So basically, you're explaining that you have to, it's best to do it before you get in a relationship. But in your relationship, that you understand what your spouse's kind of love language is. Because, you can all day long buy.
Yep.
And like I can literally be at home feeling unloved because guess what? I have all these things, but I never spend time with my spouse because that's my love language. Or, you can do all these other different things. And if it doesn't speak to that person's, if it doesn't speak that person's language, they will never feel love. They will literally be miserable, feeling like they aren't, and that person is thinking, well, I do this and I do that, but you're not speaking to that person's need. Just because you like something, just because let me bring it back to the car.
Hey, Richard.
Just because I like orange juice does not mean that I can put it in my car and my car is going to work. My car needs gas. I don't like to drink gas myself, personally. I don't know about you, but I don't like drinking gas. But my car needs it. Yeah. So I have to go out of my way. I have to go to the gas station, which is oftentimes out of our way, in order to fill my gas tank up with gas because that's what my car needs. So oftentimes, even though I like certain things, even though I like quality time, I like things, Christian may not.
Yes.
Christian his love language may be different. So as much as I love quality time, as much as I love acts of service, if Chris likes gifts, if Chris likes physical touch, I can do all those other things and he can be miserable and never feel like he's loved in a relationship. So even though that's not speaking to me, that's not what I'm like, I still have to go out of my way. Yes. Just like to that gas station, I have to go out of my way in order to give him what he needs, in order to give my car what it needs. I have to go out of my way. So that's what we have to be mindful about in our relationship. And remember, this is an important key. And remember that, guess what? It's not going to change overnight. It's going to happen. Like we constantly have to remind ourselves of this, like things that we're working on. Like, look, hey, this is something that we just started doing. Yes. We have to be patient with one another. We have to give it time in order for it to start, really working, really meaning something, really being able to see the fruit of our labor. Yeah.
And because we're all human, right? Yep. And so sometimes what'll happen is like, I might do something and the first thought that you have is what? Oh, the one time that you do it, you want me to acknowledge it, or the one time that
right?
Yeah, like but it's because it's human nature. It's like what just happened is you did it one time, and you want me to appreciate it when that's not consistent for you. Are you just doing this for sex? Are you just doing this? Like, what is your motive? So you have to be consistent.
Don't give up. Yeah, don't feel like you need. And people do that every in so many different areas of our lives. We do that on the job. Yeah, we feel like, oh, okay, I came to work on time today. Yeah. Did anybody know that? Like, you've been late all month, and the one time you come to work, you won an award. You know what I mean? Or with our fitness, like we work out one time, and like we getting on the scale. We're trying to see.
I'm in the mirror like
I do that too. Yeah. Like, you feel that?
Like,
you see that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, them guns. Yeah, check that out. Yeah. So and so the last part is wisdom. Okay. And so it's funny because it's simple, but it's also hard. It's simple in the sense that wisdom is what we need. Wisdom is the ability to take the knowledge that you've gained, understand how to apply it, and then actually apply it. Take the action to implement it. And then you can't just do it one time. You have to be consistent. You have to do it over and over and over and over and over. How many times did I say over again? Because listen, if you want to master something, it has been said that you have to do it 10,000 times. If you want to become a legend, 20,000. If you want to see why it is that basketball players play at an elite level, look at how much shots they've taken over their career. Some people will say, I take 500 shots a day. Well, over the span of their career, if they do 500 shots a day, they exceed that 10,000 times. That's why that shot comes second nature to them.
It's easy. Yep.
Your relationship deserves 10,000 times, 20,000 times.
That's good.
You can't like just do it one time and think I'm okay.
Wow.
We say this before, and and I love saying it. Like, what I did yesterday is not gonna help me today.
Yesterday ended last night.
Night, right? Like, I can hold the door for you today, but what does that do for tomorrow?
What
right?
does that do for today?
Yeah. So thinking about that and understanding that, listen, you need a lot of knowledge, a lot of understanding, and a truckload of wisdom.
Right. And I read somewhere that wisdom, the definition of wisdom, their definition that they give was knowing the difference between right and wrong and choosing to do what's right. So sometimes in our relationships, we know what's right to do, but because we don't get the reaction or the response that we feel like we want, we don't want to do what we know is right to do. So just like Christian said, practice. You talking about practice? Yes, we talking about practice. Practice it. Keep doing it over and over again. Like you said, your relationship deserves that 20,000 times, not even that. Your relationship deserves that 20,000 times. So you keep doing it over and over again because it's the right thing to do. If it's the wrong thing to do, by all means, don't do it. That's not what we're saying. If it's the right thing to do, keep doing it in your relationship. If it's the right thing to do for your spouse or, for your relationship or for yourself, because the best thing you can do for your relationship is work on yourself.
Yeah. And I think, this is foundational. So we talked about knowledge, we talked about understanding, and we talked about wisdom. It's essential that you put those in a cornerstone of your relationship. And the reason I say that is because understanding all these things, if you don't apply it, it was for nothing. If, some of the things that I've been learning, I have to be constantly reminded of, yes, Yvonne, making it a habit, right? I have to make it a habit. When I come home, I cannot, and this is me speaking to myself, right? I cannot say, you talk to the kids one time and you've built a relationship. I can't say I rub my wife's shoulders one time and I showed her affection. I can't help in the kitchen one time and have her feel loved. You can't do one thing one time.
But that's what we do.
And that's what we do. It's an ethical trap, an ethical drift. We allow these things to come in our mind like, I did it one time. I'm good. Yep.
Good job. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
And then I don't do it ever again.
Right.
It's not okay. Now, your relationship deserves the 10,000. Yep. And the 20,000.
10,000 or 20,000.
The 20,000. But first begin with one.
Yep.
And be consistent. One every day will lead to 20,000. Is there anything else that you wanted to say tonight?
Nope, that was good.
To my beautiful Nubian queen?
Awesome. Thank you. Good stuff. Thank you for adding value. Yeah, that was some good stuff.
All right. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, checking in with us live tonight. As always, we want you guys to go out and dominate your space.
See you guys.